7,
You do
yeah.
it. You do it.
I thought it was
okay.
7.
Once we know where it's a student. So that's why.
Oh, yeah, they left, right?
He's gonna graduate.
Get out of
Okay, all right, I would like to call to order. Good afternoon and welcome to the July 2026 Track Committee meeting. Thank you all for attending in person. First, I'd like to do roll call. Mark Boyce.
Here.
Maxwell Johnson. Conrad Langenheim.
Presently attending.
Gotcha. Roman Shervan.
Here.
Peter Ray, he was gonna be online, but I don't know if he's on yet. Okay.
Gotcha.
Susan Dargish is also supposed to be online. I don't know if she's not on yet either. Okay, James.
Here.
Kimberly Rankin. Here. Stuart Westerman.
Here.
And me. So we have a quorum. Thank you. All right, the first item on the agenda is public comment, and is there anyone from the public here wishing to make a comment, or do we have any public comment that came in on email or stuff like, anything like that?
No.
No public comment, okay. All right, now it's the chair's report. The PSTA Board of Directors met on June 24th. I was not able to attend that meeting, so but they received several informative presentations. One of the presentations focused on the first draft of the fiscal year 2027 operating budget. That budget includes reduced headcounts of 15 positions, rising health insurance and fuel costs, along with funding for new services such as the Tampa Bay Ferry. The capital plan invests in major projects, including the completion of the Clearwater Station, safety-focused bus bay construction, technology to reduce fare evasion, and various customer experience improvements. The board also received an update on the 6-month ridership data since the launch of the Connected Community Bus Plan in October of '25. The data shows improvements, including particularly with Sunrunner, frequency changes and time transfers at Park Street and Largo Transit Center. The weekend service adjustments, downtown transfers, and the Safety Harbor Snapper continue to be reviewed for their performance. Mr. Miller is here with us. Did you have any other comments about the board or the board meetings?
No, the summertime, good afternoon, everybody. The summertime at PSA every year is dominated at the board level by discussion of our budget for next year. And as you're gonna see on the presentations, first you're gonna see a presentation from Debbie, which is something you'll vote on, is about our budget for next year. She's gonna kind of go over that. And then what is a lot of discussion going on by all of the board members, all of the elected officials are talking about this thing that I'm gonna give you a presentation on called Amendment 3, which is on the ballot this fall, in November. So that there was a lot of discussion at the meeting on that, but otherwise it was a relatively good meeting, yeah.
Good, thank you. Okay. Okay, our next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. And the minutes from April, May, and June. And in fact, I asked Juan about whether or not we could, in future meetings, have the minutes sent to us as part of our email, because I know I'm on several boards, and yes, people always approve the minutes, but it's always nice if you want to be able to read through it in detail. And so, the minutes apparently were available, but I wasn't even recognizing where they were, so but I would still like to ask if I could get a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. The minutes were all approved. So then, all right, so next on the agenda, we will hear from Debbie Leas, the Chief Financial Officer, and she's going to present on the trim notice, the proposed service adjustments, and at the conclusion of her presentation, we will vote on whether to support the recommendations.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Debbie Leas, the Chief Financial Officer here.
And I love coming to this meeting because you always have a really good, robust discussion on items. So today we are going to be talking about the truth in millage rate. And we are going to be looking at what is the maximum millage we can submit, as well as public hearing. So as the chair mentioned, last month I presented to the board our first draft of the budget. It was balanced with a small surplus, and we were able to achieve that. And it was a very challenging year to get there. And that was through reduction of budgeted headcount, it was cost-cutting measures, increased revenues, as well as use of one-time revenues of our COVID or CARES Act relief funds. Next year will be our last year of those funds, so it's going to be, I know my grants manager will be excited, but it also creates challenges.
Yes.
One of the areas that could have cost-saving measures but does impact people is that we were looking at our two lowest performing routes. One of which is the Snapper in Safety Harbor, as well as Route 90. So I don't know if you're not familiar with Route 90 it goes between Bay Point Plaza to 75th and Gulf. So we're going to be asking you today about having a public hearing as well as the maximum trim notice. So we've been going through, and one of my biggest challenges has been fuel this year. As you can well imagine with the war in Iran, the fuel prices have skyrocketed. Since June, I've been able to lock in 50% of the fuel that we use on our buses at a nice low rate. So I was able to save money. That still leaves me 50% exposed to what's happening outside my control. So there may be opportunities for some future savings. We're going to be looking at some performing routes, and I'm constantly meeting with all of our people to see if there's any more revenue increases or cost-saving measures we can have. So somehow I think I missed a slide on here. I did. So staff is going to be recommending a rollback rate, coming back a little bit. We're currently at 0.7300 for our millage. We're a tiny sliver on a dollar bill. And we're recommending to come back to the 0.7250. Now this is the lowest rate in the last 16 years. And it provides a little bit of savings to the taxpayers now, because I think that's going to be in some ways important to taxpayers as costs will increase. And Brad will be talking about that with the amendment. So we are going to be seeing some increases there, and we still have a balanced budget with no rate cuts. So usually the board members will say, what is the full rollback rate? So that is 0.7168. That's right now what we're recommending, which is the maximum amount we can give to the property appraiser to put on your trim notices. I cannot go above that once it goes to the property appraiser, but I can always go below. So we're going to be recommending the 0.7250 at this point, and we'll see what happens over the summer with diesel fuel. So what are the benefits? First of all, let me just say straight up front, I love to save money. I'm a saver. But there are benefits to cutting back on what we could possibly save, especially to the taxpayers. If we end up having a need, we can always what they call roll forward. And our maximum amount we can by legislation charge is 0.7500. So that helps us to, if we roll back now a little bit, it'll help us to roll forward. There may be, you're gonna hear from Brad on amendment number 3. If that passes, we're gonna be looking at some very significant cuts in service that will not only impact the bus service, but also paratransit, as well as headcounts here. There'll be layoffs. It's not gonna be very good. So we want to be able to hold a public hearing to hear from the riders, to hear from the public on the two routes. So I'm hoping that we will be able to do that today to get your approval as one of the action items to hold that hearing and go forth from there. So my 2 action items today is to approve the maximum millage rate of 0.7250 and the other is to hold a public hearing on the 2 routes. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Could you go back one slide?
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry. Is it in ridership loss? Is that people per year?
That's rides. That's the
Okay.
number of rides in the year,
Rides, number of rides,
number of rides.
which means bus physically moving.
Bus, somebody getting on and off the bus, so those are the number of rides. So every time you get on a bus and you go to the next, to your end
Oh.
destination is a ride.
So
Okay.
10,000 rides would be lost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And average, what is average for more, I don't know, for Route 4 or any other route, like.
Well, these
it
are
could-
2 lowest performing routes.
Right.
I would have to look up, I don't know, Brad, if you know off the top of
Like
your
10
head.
times more?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's
there.
magnitude of 10 times.
Uh,
Okay, now then it's fair.
Do we know what the
Uh,
breakdown is?
The
You mean in
breakdown,
terms of between those 2 routes?
Yeah.
I do.
Like in the month of May,
Uh,
the Safety Harbor Snapper was our lowest ridership route in the whole system at 343.
Right.
170 riders for the entire month.
Right.
The number of trips
Right.
that people took on that. And then Route 90 was 738. And then like Route 4, for example, was 65,000.
Per month. Yeah, okay.
60, so 100 times more.
Uh-huh.
And like the Sunrunner was 76,000. I think our average is like 20,000, and these have less than 1,000.
And by eliminating, we're gonna save $500,000
Probably not quite that much, but we'll be saving some money
in a year or
in a year, yes.
So it's annualized, so like
Yes.
we're not gonna save it this year because we have few months left.
Right, no, this would be for next year. When
Yes.
you provide the notice to the property appraiser, he sends out the trim notice early. And then usually in October, if you're a homeowner, you will get your notice to pay your property tax bill. So it'll be for next year. Yes, sir.
I wanted to take a ride from Pinellas County to Hillsborough County. They used to have until I think June or July, they used to have a program where you could take a bus from Pinellas County to one of the other counties. How much money, the program is now defunct. How much money did you all save from dropping that program, and what was the ridership? Because I see that for the 90, but I don't, and the
You're
other one,
talking
but I don't.
about TD
TD
Tampa,
Tampa Bay.
TD Tampa Bay.
That's not PSA.
Yeah, the TD Tampa Bay would save us, and this is an estimate, about $150,000 with the fares we don't get plus the cost. The cost is in around the $400,000 range. And we do have, which will be, we're announcing tomorrow, Bonnie Epstein, who you probably all have met and know from Mobility. We, PSTA, through Bonnie's great work in writing a grant application, is getting $50,000 from Uber to help continue the service at least for the next few months. So it'll be, help us go forward on it
So I now can take that
Yeah,
trip?
Yeah.
or a little longer.
for a little longer, yeah.
Okay, well, with that, I want to bring up something that bothers me then. Because had I not personally, I have access to things that the public doesn't have. So how many other people are similarly situated that, and I have the voicemail from the lady. I can give it to you, her name and everything, where she said that program was cut out and everything. Since we now have the program back, Now I know about it, now I know I can apply. That's the message that I left you on your voicemail. Why? What about all those people that needed that ride and still need it, but don't have the ability to get it? Is there some way that we could reassess, or, I mean, I'm gonna understand we keep the, all the phone calls are recorded, and is there some way that maybe we could reach out and touch these people and say, hey, listen, we didn't have the program when you called, but we do have it back now.
Oh, you'll be hearing, yes, it'll be going out to the
Right.
to the riders.
Well, I mean, I haven't heard anything, and then.
Well, this is hot off the press, it's
Oh,
gonna not be
okay,
announced
okay.
until tomorrow.
And-
Okay,
Sneak peek.
And to be
if
honest,
we
this,
have, if we have something that's in the works to help us out, then fine, and I'll.
You're getting it one day ahead of the
Oh,
board
okay.
yeah, let's
all right.
hold off on that because that's also not part of what they're
Okay.
recommending. What they're recommending is the Route 90 and then the Safety Harbor.
Okay.
My question on those is, what alternatives will those riders have? You're gonna ask that too.
Well, do
I can go ahead and try to answer that. So, right now, as Debbie has just presented, the budget proposed would, at the 0.725 tax rate, would allow for, we wouldn't have to cut any services. But we would just like the authorization to advertise, to get a public hearing in August to see if there's a lot of riders that are concerned about eliminating our two lowest ridership routes. The if the board decides to cut these routes, we would try to provide an alternative for people to get to where these routes go. For Safety Harbor, we'd still have PSA access. My thought is to create a direct connect stop or stops, a couple stops in Safety Harbor so that people could, if they lived in Safety Harbor, they could get a discounted Uber ride to the Route 19 out of Countryside Mall or connect to transit. It won't be as great, but I'm very disappointed. We tried to make that a success and it has not been. I don't think it's been, the technology has not been there so that people can even go on Google and see that it's there. So I think that's the biggest problem with it. We've tried, but our fine technical staff has not been able to get Google to do it. So, yeah.
Jay.
Yeah, so I understand with the snapper. Also, we cut a bus with the promise of having the snapper, so people can ride that instead of riding the bus.
I know.
Correctly.
I know we did.
Yep. What is the replacement for the 90? Because I am not seeing a bus that goes
The
all the way
the
down.
90 is a service that goes through South St. Petersburg over to the beach.
Yes.
And the vast majority of the riders are working at Tradewinds and the other hotels on the beach.
Mhm.
They will have to take the Sunrunner.
But
They will
someone
take the
doesn't
Sunrunner.
go all the way down though.
It doesn't go to the Don Cesar. No, it doesn't. Yeah, that's a problem.
So, because like right now the 90, yeah.
You know, it seems like and that's a whole nother discussion, but getting businesses involved, because the story I tell of Safety Harbor all the time is I used to go to Safety Harbor when the 62 went through Safety Harbor. I used to go there pretty often. I literally never go there. So I don't go there to restaurants, I don't go there to the stores, I actually selected the nursing home my mother was in when it was in Safety Harbor. I mean, she has passed away, so it's irrelevant now, but you know, there's a whole lot of businesses that have lost some business that they don't even realize because they're not getting supported. You know, they're not asking for the transit support as well, but that's another discussion, so.
My concern is that if we offer the public hearing, it's just gonna get cut. Cause we offer the board to say, oh, let's do a public hearing, they're gonna cut it, cause they like cutting. Last year, the recommended trim was like 7.7332, we cut to 730. This year it's gonna be 0.725. I would not be surprised if they want to cut it down to the absolute rollback. And as we know about the gas prices, that's gonna be really bad for us.
That's right.
So, diesel, yeah, okay, but whatever.
Diesel's worse.
Yeah. So it's like,
Well, it's
I personally am not a fan of giving opportunity to cut, because one, we keep cutting services.
Right.
This will be the second year in a row we've cut services. And it's like, I don't know, I am not a fan of that. I actually would personally prefer we just stayed at 7,300, but I know
I agree.
people want to cut the taxes, but like we have to have services. People, this is public transit for the public.
There is one board member that at the planning committee suggested, well, maybe if the ridership was low on these, to take the funding that Debbie says is available, if we would eliminate these two routes and put it into increasing the frequency on the Sunrunner to 10 minutes. It's every 15 minutes now. 10 minutes.
Well, 10 minutes would be,
You can do whatever you want.
Or his idea was to reinvest the money, not necessarily just.
But it still takes, public transit services are
Yeah.
for people. I'm sorry, were you gonna ask something, Stuart?
Well, I was gonna ask, how long has the Snapper been around? I
Not,
thought it was pretty recently.
it is pretty recent.
since
I
what's February?
October.
October?
Yeah.
October.
10 months.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things, like I know it took me a while even to learn how the 78 route had changed
Mhm.
and get it to be part of my normal pattern. And I kept thinking, oh, one of these days I need to try the Snapper, and see how that goes. And it's not as convenient as just jumping on a bus for sure, but yeah,
Now, is that the one that you have to call? Okay.
it's like an on-demand thing.
And how much advertising has been done on that?
Well, as I described, the biggest issue in my view is because we did a lot of outreach with all the riders of the former service that was there before we fixed route service we had there.
Right.
And the issue is that because it's a microtransit service, that it does not appear on Google or Transit app or anything like that. So if you say, oh, I want to go to, say, the Safety Harbor Spa tomorrow, and I want to take public transportation there, and I live in Clearwater, and you do the directions on Google say, take the Route 19 to Countryside Mall and walk
Yep.
3.5
That's
miles.
right. That's correct. That's correct.
Which is just not, that has been so frustrating to me that
Yeah.
we cannot get it to show. And that is the advertising that we need for it to be successful. Now we are retaining the Snapper in the top of the world Clearwater side.
Okay.
That one is doing better. We have had, Juan has been out there talking to top of the world, and we have had higher ridership on that one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, my understanding is we can make a motion to do either to approve, to go with what Debbie has suggested, or we can say we want to keep it, like what Jay was saying, we want to keep it at the rate that it currently is. We can also, I believe, we have to make two motions, one about having the public hearings on the 90 and the Safety Harbor. And so I guess what I'm asking is, do we want to have a motion to do exactly what's recommended, is dropping the trim a little bit down to 0.72, or keeping the trim where it was, and then, go ahead,
I don't know. Finish your thought.
what?
Okay. Do you know how much the difference? Because I know with the 725 is 1 million over the
Yeah,
716.
the difference in this is around $616,000 between the 0.7300 and the 0.7250. And as Brad said, at 0.7250, no service is affected.
Yeah. And like, what is our contingency for the fuel price? I'm really concerned about the fuel price.
I have, for the 50% I locked in, I locked it in at an average of $2.92 a gallon.
Oh, that's good.
I know.
Especially for diesel? What?
And for the balance of it, it's at $3.50. Of course, I'm buying it, we're buying it in bulk, if you
Mhm.
will, so, you know, we do pretty well. And every 10 cents that it goes down saves us $137,500. So I just need little bit to help
So
out.
if you could, anyone knows anybody that can end the war in Iran, that would help.
Right.
That would help.
I've got Trump's number on speed dial. I'll call him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is there any way to lock in
Yeah,
a
Roman,
higher
yes.
percentage?
Okay,
A 60
everybody-
or
no,
75% or?
Well, that's a great question. The question is, can I lock in more? And yes, I can. When I locked in at the 50%, I'd locked in a piece of it, then I locked in another piece, a total of 50%. At that point in time, all the markets, everyone was saying it's gonna go lower, it's going to go lower.
Mhm.
I apparently did not have the crystal ball on things not going as well as we're going, because it literally can change in a day. So we're constantly monitoring the market and locking it in. So hopefully that will happen. And, you know, to your point, Jay, one of the things the board has done over the years which has really helped us, is we have what we call a mixed fleet. We've got electric, hybrid electric, and diesel.
Mhm.
So with having a mixed fleet, the electric, of course, is helping us out significantly, as well as the hybrid electrics right now.
Yeah.
You had a
Mark?
question, Mark?
I'm sensitive to Jay's point about if we give them, they'll probably take it, cause they always wanna cut the board, you know. It's a tough job being on the board though, you know, unless I've done it, and it's
Yeah,
terrible
they're
really.
concerned about the taxpayers.
But you're kind of our expert financially, and is your opinion personally that it would be better for us down the road to offer them something? It sounds like we're trying to offer them something that we are trying to cut costs, like we're trying to show that we're good stewards or something?
Oh, well,
Or
yes,
Should we
I
just
mean,
forget them and just enjoy the 7-3 for now, or? I don't mean in a mean way, but I just mean, is your opinion that this is a good idea or no?
well, this gives us a balanced budget. It does give us room to go forward. The crystal ball out of Tallahassee is saying that our property values will continue to go up, at about 3 to 4%, which is oftentimes better than what we can do in investing. It does allow for all taxpayers in the county who are either homeowners or paying rent, because it does affect rent. A little bit of cushion in their lives to do that. Like I said, we are one little sliver of a dollar bill, but you're gonna be hearing how the whole dollar bill has a huge impact on all that we do.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm comfortable with the 0.7250.
Okay.
And I feel comfortable that our board will make the correct decisions in the future, that if we have to move forward, we can. Everybody is being impacted by this Amendment 3, so.
Okay,
I was running first though.
oh, I'm sorry. Lee Conrad?
Well, somebody said something about Uber was gonna help us out.
50,000.
And do we have an active program where we try to watch for grants or solicit other things? Because, like they have like Penny for Pinellas, do we have a legislator on our side that recognizes the thing that maybe they can propose a bill that or something that even if they do pass this law, that we can allow us to maybe have a public transportation bill where we can get other monies through the losses of this or something else, that that there are to be creative, because whatever systems we've used in the past doesn't necessarily mean that those are the only ways to do things. And going forward, maybe we need to think outside the box and produce other new things possibly that can alleviate our shortcomings or proposed shortcomings.
Yeah, we do have, the planning team has great grant writers down there with Jacob, and we're constantly looking at grants and opportunities, so yes. Non-tax revenues.
We also have a state and a federal lobbyist to help us look at those opportunities on that level, as well as our membership in the Florida Public Transit Association and APTA. So, I mean, the short answer is yes, we're looking high and low everywhere, Conrad.
Okay.
Ramon, did you have something else you wanted to say?
Thank you. So I just wanted to understand, those two routes that we, like deciding to recommend to have a public hearing or not, some of the portions, right, there's no substitute, right? So like, and the one of them is very small, the 90 is actually, I don't know, 3 times bigger than the smaller one, or 5 times bigger.
Yeah.
Because you cannot have the data from rides, because when a person goes into the bus, you don't know when he goes away. Do we have did we do it? Do we have a survey which specific spot on that 90? I'm more concerned about that 90. If it's a bad scenario, we have to cut. And I like the idea about reinvesting that money, but not in a Sunrunner. I use Sunrunner. I feel like 15 minutes, it's working great. I don't know if you want it to be greater. I'm thinking about those people who are will not have a service at all. And I'm thinking if we know that specific spot through a survey or something, not through data that you have, but through a survey and us talking to people, if we could extend some of the buses that could go longer to cover that piece, at least something to give to people, because I don't know if it's gonna be if it's gonna be so great when you even have that public hearing and tell them, we're gonna cut it, like you didn't give anything, at least something. Is there a possibility to do that?
I mean, my own personal hope, kind of that there will be people that are affected,
Right,
that will come to the public hearing.
right. Say no.
And say, please keep my service, I won't have anything.
Yeah.
If that's possible, or if people don't come, that means that they will be able to take the Sunrunner to their destination. Like your chair said, it's totally up to you how you would, I would imagine the writers committee would be in favor of keeping the service.
Right.
My thought
Exactly.
generally was to give this option to the board, a slight tax reduction, put these routes out there for public hearing. Maybe we don't need to cut them, but with the worry about the fuel prices going up, maybe by September when this final vote happens, the final vote is in September, maybe the prices will come down, and then maybe it'll be all good. Maybe the prices will go up, and then we'll have to cut these routes. I don't know, but it's just an option. If nobody comes to the public hearing, maybe it's okay. If a ton of people come, I would imagine they would not wanna cut it, yeah.
Based on what I'm hearing you say, if I'm hearing you correctly, then if we made a motion to keep the millage at the rate at this 0.73, and then, but still had the hearing on the elimination of the routes so that we could determine if that's a cost that can be cut, that would give us a cushion if fuel prices are an issue in September, and especially if this referendum passes in the fall, then, we have a little bit more cushioning. Cutting right now feels like it's a little scary, considering that there are these monsters sort of hanging over the edge of the bed right now, and I guess that's the thought I have. Does anyone disagree with that, or does anyone wanna make a motion that we can consider?
Well, I wanna make a motion, but I'm a firm believer in not cutting services. So, if you wanna have a public hearing on it, but in my opinion, we should not cut services to people who need them.
I think we can say it to the board, but practical, Brad, we are voting today. Does it change anything? Because life happens without us. Prices can go up, and then what? We suddenly, you gonna pay your salary to cover that? I don't think you earn that much. I just wanna understand, are we influencing? Is this a discussion that we actually have an influence? We're cutting your salary if something happens, if we don't?
I'm hopeful that Gloria reports to the PSA board about your discussions, that they listen to the
Right.
riders as one of the many things
One voice.
that they
Right.
have to
Well,
consider.
Yeah, that's good, but they are decision makers. We
Yeah.
are we're like a voice of reason, right? Like of riders.
Right.
Of riders. That's one. Having a hearing, I kind of feel like maybe a hearing, and like I'm for the riders, I'm not cutting. I just want to make sure, right? Maybe having a hearing actually gives us more arguments to fight against voice of people who want to cut it, because like, hey, we are against it, and actually people against it, and like maybe we should find other means and not cut it, right? And then it's kind of like a little bit more pressure on the board to not cut, and if that is, then paradoxically, I'm for a hearing, like I'm like scaring people, say, hey, if you don't fight right now, guess what? You're not gonna have your bosses. I just wanna make sure that we don't perceive it as like, we suggest this and we eliminated it. No, we actually wanna keep it.
We want the hearings, I think you're right, I think that's, yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
A couple questions, and then I am prepared to make a motion. I just wanna confirm, if we recommended 0.730, that's just a trim number. That means they can still cut it. This is not them saying they won't cut it. It just, this will go on the truth to millage thing.
Mhm.
And two, you mentioned roll forward a few times.
Right, what it means is, if we're at 0.73, 0.7250, something happens, fuel prices go sky high, the Amendment 3 passes, whatever it may be, the board can always vote to roll it forward, meaning we can go higher. We
Okay,
can
but it's
go
just
higher.
harder to do that then.
Yeah,
Okay. Then I move that we recommend the trim notice to be set at 0.730.
I second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed, I'm with the experts.
Okay, so one opposed. Now,
I didn't vote, I'm neutral.
okay, so
So
You
how
have
do
to
vote?
vote.
You have to.
You
can't
have to vote.
abstain.
You have to- Yeah,
Are we gonna vote on my motion not to cut the?
we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
got it,
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'll abstain.
initial voting, voice, if the vote is close, what do they consider close? We have
Yes.
three, we had Conrad, Ramon, did you vote yes or no?
Yes, I'll vote yes.
Yes, okay,
I vote yes.
yes, okay, so we have one opposed and the remainder are in
It's not
favor.
close.
It's not close, okay.
Okay.
So and then the second motion is on the public hearings for the cuts on Route 90 and Safety Harbor Snapper.
Let me amend my motion. I believe we should have the public hearings, but I believe that we should recommend that they not cut the service.
I second that one.
Can we say that as a motion?
Is that too many things to put on?
Well, I think the
Yeah,
hearing
you can do
is
that.
to evaluate that.
You're having a hearing, but your recommendation is to not cut the service.
Right, and we just wanna get more support on a hearing from people, and like, we recommend actually PCA to tell people, like on a website, hey, we're gonna do this. If you don't want that to happen, go to the hearing.
Yeah, I don't mind if they have a hearing, I just don't want them to cut the service. I mean,
Yeah, but we're not decision makers.
Can we say the motion that we recommend a hearing for the consideration regarding elimination of
Oh, yeah,
this?
that's-
Okay, and that way it's not recommending elimination,
Yeah,
but
that's better word.
consideration of.
We shouldn't use that word, should we?
What?
If we say consideration to cut, it sounds like that's what we're for.
Yeah.
We don't wanna put that in our, because on this one, I'm with you guys. I believe we have to keep it in front of the people, because that'll always get the power.
How about maintenance of maintaining those routes?
Yes.
Break it up into two
Oh, yeah, so
motions.
in the
next
positive, yeah,
motion
hearing
would be
to maintain those routes, to keep those routes.
we would split up your motion, recommend a public hearing, and then do another motion to not cut services.
Okay. We did it?
That's fine.
Okay, so we need a motion on the hearing, and that was, who made that motion? Conrad made that motion, that we have the hearing,
I
On those
motion that
routes.
we have a hearing.
I second.
Okay.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, and then a motion on not eliminating any of the routes at this point?
Yep,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, we give you that.
Okay,
So, Conrad, you wanna make that one too then?
My motion is that we not cut any services and leave the 90 and Snapper in place.
Yep, second?
Yes.
all right, and all in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Okay, so we ended up with 3 motions, good. All right, thank you. And thank you, Debbie.
Thank you so much.
for your efforts. That's right.
Spicy one
It's a
today.
tasty one up there with the board. Have you ever watched a board meeting during a budget? It's something.
Yeah, I think it's excellent though that everyone's really involved with this because it's our
Well,
service.
because it's gonna impact writers and
impact
we're
us, that's
specifically
correct.
to represent them.
Okay, good. Okay, and then the next item is our next information item is Brad Miller, our Chief Executive Officer, will provide an overview of Amendment 3, a constitutional amendment that will be on the November ballot in Florida and discuss the potential impacts it would have on us.
Okay, good afternoon. So how many of you have heard of Amendment 3 that is gonna be on the ballot this November?
I've heard a little.
How many of you are voting in November? Okay, good. Good. There is gonna be a ballot initiative on the November 3rd ballot that you'll all get to vote on, called Amendment 3. Amendment 3 has to do with property taxes, which is, I'm gonna give sort of a general overview of property taxes and what Amendment 3 is about, and then the impacts on PSTA. And my goal is not to tell you how to vote, and my goal, I'm not recommending that the track committee take a position or anything like this as a body. Really, my goal is just to tell as many people as I can about this so that you're informed, and that you as riders can tell other people that you know, other riders and other things, what's going on. Because I think the biggest impact on this is that people don't know, people don't understand it. Bottom line is, this is a vote across the state of Florida. And so, even if I could convince all 1 million people that live in Pinellas County to vote for the way, in some way, that's only 4% of the whole population, right? It's gonna be decided, we really have no control over this. Just quickly, to set it up. There, as you know, this is very basic, you'll probably be bored, 3 levels of government in the United States. There's the federal government, the state government, and the local government. The federal government, most of the money that we pay to them is in the form of an income tax. You have income, you pay taxes, you pay any extra you owe on April 15th each year to the federal government. That pays for the military, and it pays for roads, it pays for all of our buses here at PSDA in federal grants. Then there's the state government in Tallahassee. We pay taxes to the state government. The number one way you pay taxes to the state government is sales tax. 6% of your sales tax in Florida, that's the number one thing. A lot of other states have an income tax, like the federal government. We don't have an income tax in Florida, that's the greatest thing. The whole state government is pretty much funded by the sales tax. And then there's the local government, the city, the county that you live in, that levies a property tax. And PSTA levies a property tax. that is based on the property that you own. How many of you own a house or a home,
Condo.
own property? You pay a property tax on the value of that home. That's what the way you pay property taxes is you pay a certain amount based on the value of your home or business or land or whatever. That's the way local governments are funded throughout the world. It's a very popular kind of tax for services because obviously if you own a mansion that's worth $10 million, you pay more than if you own a $100,000 small house. That's the idea. The property taxes that we pay for all sorts of local government things, which is everything that is not funded at the state and the federal government. Schools, libraries, parks, community center, child welfare programs, police, the fire, emergency. I've seen some studies that 70% of all property taxes we pay to the county and the cities goes to police, fire, and emergency. Water, sewer, sanitation, flushing your toilet, having the water go down the drain, that's all paid for by property taxes. The roads, the transit, the traffic signals, the sidewalks, mosquitoes, all paid for by property taxes in Florida. What Amendment 3 does, it proposes to increase what's called the homestead exemption pretty dramatically. The homestead exemption is something that the legislature passed many years ago that says if you own a home, and your value of your home is say $100,000, right now the homestead exemption is $50,000. If you own a home and you live in that home, then you get to take $50,000 off the value of your home, and then you're taxed on that lower number. So if you own a $100,000 house, you get the $50,000 off. You only have to pay tax on $50,000 rather than $100,000, if that makes sense. That $50,000 exemption has been flat in Florida for a very long time. It probably really should have increased over time, but they just never have done it. What is on the ballot is to increase it from 50 to 150 to 250 over 2 years. So if you own a $250,000 house, a lot of people are thinking they will not have to pay any taxes because they will have an exemption for all the value of their house, and then they won't have to pay any taxes. That's what people think. It's not really true. Because the legislature voted that it will not affect school taxes. And I'm going to show you that the number one thing we pay for, of all the things we pay for, is with our property taxes, schools. Schools are not affected. So you're still, even if your house is worth $250,000 and you get a $250,000 exemption, you're still going to have to pay the taxes for the schools. This tax, all the stuff I'm talking about and the vote in November does not affect rental properties. Because those are not homes. Those are not homesteaded homes. It does not affect rental properties. It doesn't affect businesses. Businesses still have to pay all the tax. If you own $1 million business, you pay $1 million of property tax. It does not affect them. So in a lot of cases, what will happen is this is just a tax shift. It's not really a tax cut. It will charge renters more and homeowners less. Or it'll charge businesses more and homeowners less if this is voted on. I've spoken to a lot of PSA employees. I've spoken to the union bus drivers, the leaders of the union bus drivers about this, and they said, this sounds great because we're going to save so much money on our house. And then I said, well, this is going to have a major effect on PSTA, and I'm going to have to cut a lot of your jobs. That was kind of weird. But then when I told them, it doesn't affect renters, they're going to pay more. They were like, that's not fair. They said, that's not fair. And then businesses aren't impacted. That's not really fair. It is just really saving money for people who live in their home only. This will have a big impact on PSTA. PSTA, what we just talked about, that millage that we approve, is the property tax that we assess in Pinellas County. Hart has the same thing in Hillsborough County. Orlando has a property tax in Orlando for transit. 68%, almost 70% of all of our money that pays for the bus drivers, pays my salary, pays Debbie, pays for the track, pays for your snacks, all comes from property tax. That is gonna be cut dramatically if 60% of voters in Florida vote yes on this, we'll have no choice but to dramatically reduce our service. This is a website from the property appraiser in Pinellas County that shows that we would lose $22 million when this thing passes. Our budget will have to go down by $22 million. That will mean significant cuts to the bus system. The many routes will go away. We will increase fares. We will possibly have to significantly curtail mobility on demand and the PSC access program as well. What my thought is right now again, the vote isn't, this has not happened yet. This could happen. My thought is, I really don't want to cut the bus service any more than I have to. This is why PSA exists, is to provide the buses. So my thought is we would have to make the cuts evenly across the whole organization. We would have to cut every department at PSTA. We'd have to lay off employees. We would have to increase fares, obviously. We would have to do a lot of changes everywhere. So what I did was I went back to see when was the property tax $22 million less than it was today. Well, that was 2023, 4 years ago. And the problem is that $1 in 2023 does not pay for what $1 pays for now, what it costs now. You talk about fuel, talk about insurance has gone up so much. The wages for our bus operators has gone up a lot, all by more than 15%. It's not enough. We can increase the fare, but that is not nearly enough to pay the difference. There's really no way in which we can make up the shortfall. Happy to answer any questions that you have. My goal of this presentation today is, and I know, like I say, none of us in this room, not me, not really any of us, really can make a difference. This is gonna happen or it's not gonna happen through the vote of Florida in November. Public transit is like the tip of the tail of the dog's tail wagging. Everything is gonna be cut. Fire, police, the sheriff is gonna be massively cut. The roads, the sewers, everything is gonna be reduced, or there's gonna be new fees. Some of the beaches, I've talked to some of the beach folks, they say, well, they'll just increase the parking along the beach to $30 an hour to make up the difference. It'll be very hard, it'll increase Sun Runner ridership because no one will wanna pay that to go to the beach anymore. My thought is just, you guys are the riders talk to other riders. People do not know about this. People do not know how this works, don't know how the bus is paid for. But it will be really impacted by this. And I just think it's my goal, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to get the word out on it. And I would like to work with the track on doing that, getting the word out to more people. I don't know if necessarily you have to inform the board, they certainly know about this. We're gonna be presenting in August a more detailed outline that I've shown you here of exactly what routes we think we'll have to cut and how the service will have to be. If this passes in November, there's really no need for people to come to the board and complain because it's not their fault. There's nothing we can do about it. It'll just be what it is.
Well, I had a couple people with hands up. I think Mark actually had his hand up first, and
Yeah.
then I saw Conrad, and then I saw you, Jay.
Brad, I didn't understand somehow, when you said it will affect homeowners, it will help homeowners, but it will hurt it will, I don't know what your wording was, but it will raise people who rent?
It could, it is likely to do that, yes. It'll likely increase the property taxes on rental properties and businesses. Because they will share more of the cost now because the homeowners are sharing less of the cost.
Okay, so you're saying it will hurt the wealthy people who own the rental properties because they won't have,
No.
no?
It'll hurt us renters, because what they do, they just pass that on to us.
The people who own the
Yeah,
rental properties will have to pay more property tax.
Yes,
But they'll
It's
pass
which
it on.
will raise.
Which will in
yeah.
turn raise rents.
Yeah. I know a wealthy guy and he just told me it'll help him on his big house and all the rentals, it will hurt him.
Yeah,
And he was not happy about that because then he'd have to, face all the rent,
Gotcha.
on one of them. So,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at him, but I understand, but it sounded like you were saying
And
it's
that
gonna, indirectly, it's going to be passed along to the poor people.
yeah, I mean, actually, PSTA cannot raise its millage over 0.75. That's the max by law. But cities don't have that same kind of max, and the county doesn't. So they can increase their tax rate to make up the difference, some of the difference of this loss. And then, but that will go right to the rentals. It'll go right on the rentals and the businesses, and it'll not go on the homes, right? Who was that?
I think Conrad was next.
Okay, that goes back to my thing about what are we doing, if we can only have, if we have a ceiling to what by law we can, our millage rate can be, then why are we not focusing on getting with those people that are the powers to be and saying, well then, let's work on a higher millage? I also understand that the educational people, they didn't lose, they were exempted from this. So what enabled them to get an exemption, and we're just a really small piece of that, why couldn't someone have gone to whoever the powers to be were and said, why can't public transportation have an exemption? And then
Also
then
fire.
we wouldn't be in this
and
situation.
emergency.
We're a very small, we're minuscule, I mean, we're a little speck on
We
the.
are, I don't know, I skipped over the one slide. This dollar,
Yeah, there you go. That one.
this is for every dollar that you pay in property taxes, this is where it goes.
Wow.
In Pinellas County. The median home in Pinellas County and in Hillsborough County and in Pasco County pays about $5,000 a year in property taxes today. 34% of all that goes to schools. That will stay.
That's what I mean, why,
The Florida government decided up in Tallahassee.
why can't we, I mean, we're not the only public transportation.
We are not.
So why can't we get together with other ones and say, listen, we're a small thing, why can't you all get some friends in Tallahassee saying, we exempted the schools, let's exempt public transportation.
because these same people don't like public transportation.
Oh, no, well,
That's
and we
right.
try, we
There's
are,
also
we
fire.
are in Tallahassee
Yeah.
with all the other transit systems around the state of Florida asking for funding to be restored. You know, the reason that the TD Tampa Bay thing is being cut is because the governor vetoed the funding. The funding was vetoed by the governor.
Yeah.
We were up there advocating for it, because it is so important, as you know. Second biggest thing is you pay is for the city, and most of the city money and most of the county money goes to the sheriff and goes to the police officers and the firefighters. Then you go way down here in EMS, that's the ambulances. That's gonna get cut. Then the next thing is the JWB, the Juvenile Welfare Board in Pinellas County, that is the next thing. And then you get to PSTA. And then the only thing there's two agencies that are below us, Swift Mud and the Pinellas Planning Council. we are a small amount of the $5,000 that people pay in Pinellas County. Well, I think we all live in Pinellas County that are on the,
Yeah, we do.
but if you live in Hillsborough County, then you pay $5,000 and you pay for Hart and the schools, kind of the same thing pretty much. Every county is a little bit different, but it all works out about the same. And the 5,000, which is the median number in Pinellas, if you look at that compared to other states, Florida is very low. Florida's property taxes are relatively low in comparison. But my goal was to really just sort of inform the track committee of these, you know. I want to leave it on a positive, like, you guys are great advocates for PSTA and our services. I made this little chart about, we operate all these different modes now. People think of us as a bus system. We operate local and express buses. We have trolley buses that go up and down the beach. We've got premium. Now we got the Spark. We got Sunrunner. Micro transit. We're still gonna have one snapper at least. Hopefully maybe we'll have two. We got PSA Access, Mobility on Demand. We got the van pool now that goes all the way to Pasco and Ocala. And then we've got now the ferry, and a lot of those things are going to be curtailed or gone. I mean, it'll be a big effect on us.
Can I say something to add to about a positive note? Because one of the things I was going to talk about with the group at the end was the possibility of, we've had initiatives in the past, we've had subcommittees. Is this an okay time to mention this? Okay. And I had been talking with PSTA about the fact that after having heard, in fact, from a board meeting, I realized we are always looked at as an expense. And I don't think there's enough information out there to say what a value, what is the value of public transit, what is the value of a transit rider, and how we, in fact, improve businesses. You've heard me talk about this 100 times, but I don't go to Safety Harbor anymore, and I'm some dollars that are not being spent there. And, we are employees, we are patients at doctors, and all of what transit does is, and it gets us to those things, it gets us to spend our dollars. It also saves the money of, how much money was spent on the additional lanes on the Howard Franklin. We're not additional lanes on the Howard Franklin. We are a very cost-effective way of moving some of our customers. And so I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if we had an initiative? I'm not exactly sure what we would do with this. We could present it to the board. We could also ultimately present it to media and so forth, not directly related to this amendment, but again, so that people would see that transit has a huge value. And we could create an initiative about the value of a transit rider, the value of transit. What do you all think of that idea?
I think that's a great idea. And
It is a great
I use Access to go to the Delhi Museum and we volunteer, and people are like, wow,
Correct, that's right. I do a lot of volunteer work as well, and same kind of thing. It would cost them.
They're like, and then they start asking questions about the Access service, and I tell them about it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I tell them, if it wasn't for Access, I'd be a mushroom in my house, I'd get out and about it and do things, and feel like a very important member of society,
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Well, my thought on the initiative is if we can put together something, we still have to publicly notice it, but I think, could we meet them, could we do it online? Still do a Zoom meeting of the people that want to be on the committee for the initiative, and that for the next meeting, we could present what we have come together as an initiative. And that may be something that can then be presented to the board and, even to the media, because we are not PSTA, we are riders. We work within PSTA, but we are riders of the system. First of all, do you think it's a good idea? Do we have to have a motion probably to create the initiative if you want to do that? And then I'd love to see if there's some people who would volunteer to be part of the committee, the subcommittee, to look at that kind of an initiative.
I need a motion to for the initiative,
Okay,
Second.
to create the initiative.
do we have a second? I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, anyone opposed? Okay, and then if anyone's interested in being on that committee, you can either, I guess, say it right now, or we can, if you can reach out to, to Juan, yeah.
Yes.
Does,
And, beg your pardon?
does PSTA, are they allowed to have public service announcements?
Yeah.
Well, then why can't they have, I don't know who does the public service announcements, but why can't, and I'm just saying this, it doesn't have to be me. My name's Conrad Langenham and I ride the bus and because I'm able to ride the bus, if you vote against this tax, I may not be able to ride the bus.
I don't
Conrad,
think
we as a government entity, we can educate people on the impacts of this if it passes. We cannot electioneer, which means we cannot tell people how to vote X or Y.
Yeah, oh, here,
Okay,
We
actually,
just, that is a very clear
okay.
line.
Okay, well, what if I said, I would like to continue to go to Publix and shopping and stuff, but you know, I'm worried that I'm not gonna be able to do that if PSDA.
you know, like,
You are free as an individual to say whatever you want.
Yeah, but no,
Here, under the auspices, I'm not trying to argue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under the auspices of PSTA and being a track member, we strictly cannot and do not.
here's a different
Election
spin
year.
on this. And I understand everything perfectly what you said, but what if it's absolutely neutral? If every bus, you know, like we have this announcement, if every bus has announced saying like, there will be a vote, if it's voted, 63% gonna be cuts to PSTA. And leave it at this, and like, just like, hey, you know, like, we'll have to cut services, which ones, we don't know, but at least you know that
That's
there will be.
information.
As we are right now hashing out what our communication strategy will be, and we will certainly need people here in this room to speak to the personal impacts of how your life is impacted if this passes. So if you're interested in doing that, we would love to work with
So,
you.
you know, like, well, I
It's
still,
not like a PSA, but it would be
yeah, I understand,
similar.
I still
I
wanna.
regularly will call the TV stations, or I was just interviewed by somebody at the Tampa Bay Times too. And you know, you can always make calls and say, hey, you know, I'm a rider on and my thought on the initiative is if we have the initiative, we can send that to the media too, that says that, you know, our committee has these thoughts about the value of transit riders. Keep talking about the value of what transit does to the businesses and the people in our community and protect it. Yes, Mark.
I have an idea, and I think if I can illustrate this, it'll work. If we had a couple of people who decided that their job was to come up with our condensed statement, let's just say we were able to make a condensed statement that, you know, think about what's gonna happen. We're not telling you how to vote, but here's what's gonna happen. If we talk about ourselves and, I might not, you know, I might have to walk or I might have to ride my bike and that's not safe and, you know, people will listen to a certain extent. But if you really wanna get to people, you have to scare them and you have to go after what they care about. So the way, in my opinion, to be smart, to have a big impact, is if we went like ballistic to support the sheriff's department. All of a sudden, track committee is all upset that they're gonna cut the sheriff's department because we want safety, right? And or EMS. A lot of the older people are like, oh my goodness, what do you mean? I'm gonna call and I'm not gonna have an ambulance at my house? Or it's gonna cost me $8,000. It already costs like a ridiculous amount of money to take. But I don't think the average voter, if they don't ride transit, they don't really care about us. But they do care about, so in my opinion, if we wanna make a huge impact on a large amount of people, if we started making our pitch to folk act like we're, I guess it's acting, act like we're concerned about losing sheriffs deputies and we're concerned about losing EMS,
good point.
all those people, anybody at those agencies is gonna be as upset about this as we are, correct? Like if they're 30-some%, we're only, we're 1/10 of that. Technically, it's gonna affect us way less than the sheriff's office, if I'm understanding this correctly. As far as the
Yeah.
budget.
Or equally, yeah.
No, but I mean, if-
Percentage-wise equally,
Percentage-wise,
right?
same.
Money-wise,
Money-wise.
yeah, a lot more.
A lot more.
Percentage.
So I just think if we wanna get a big bang for our buck, if we go across as concerned about Pinellas County residents rather than ourselves, but we're a track committee, but we're really concerned about losing EMS service and losing police service. I think it would get more people's attention, cause everybody,
I agree.
pretty much, everybody wants a safe county and everybody wants to
Yeah.
get to the hospital before they die.
You use it.
Yeah.
once or not.
So, but they don't care if I
Okay.
make it on my 62 up
My
to.
my only personal selfish goal for giving you the presentation and talking about this is I will hate myself if this, on November 4th, that this thing passes and we have to cut a third of the
I
buses
can't
and
imagine,
everything
yeah.
for people's, especially
no
my,
one knew.
the track committee or anyone saying, we didn't even know.
Yep.
We voted for it, we didn't know.
I just
So
think
I'm
the
gonna definitely talk to
education,
everybody I can.
Well,
I think you're right, we have to have education for people. But you have to really think about what will impact the maximum amount of
True.
Pinellas County voters.
Yeah.
And that would be to talk about the figure.
Point, I think, because we're talking about the initiative, we are talking about two separate things, and my own concern is if we as a track are lobbying for people not, that this is going to cost all this money, that feels like that's the lobbying that we're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
The idea of us doing an initiative where we just say, hey, do you understand the value of what transit is, which is the only thing we can speak of, and I agree with you, is not as impactful for those people who don't ride, but there is data that shows that transit is a benefit to everyone. It benefits, and it's a little bit more of a backward thing, but I Googled all of the benefits of transit. And I think that's the only place where we can be within the legal guidelines of what we're allowed to say. And then on a private level, we can definitely do what you're talking about.
Then I recommend privately, we all talk about the terror that's gonna happen if that passes with no,
Absolutely.
rather than ourselves.
And it might sound a little like guerrilla warfare, but so be it.
Yeah,
If we can't do it, what about getting with other groups that can?
Right.
AARP, whoever,
right.
and okay, senior citizens may not be a protected class. The disabled are, federally even. Whoever the largest one or ones, and and tell them, we're sure if it passes here, it's gonna pass in your state. It's gonna pass federally,
Right.
and everybody's gonna be affected. We can't make a statement against it, but ones that don't have those guidelines can make a statement against it. And if the governor sees that not only this state, but all the surrounding states or all the states are against that, and you can't run another term for governor. You wanna have any chance, even a snowball's chance, where, of having any political career after this. You don't want the whole state, you don't want the federal government, you don't want protected classes endorsing anybody but you.
So there's
Well,
no
it's too late for
one
the
Right,
in Florida who's
Well-
opposing that from politics? No one?
I'm so sorry. What was that?
There's no one in Florida politicians who's opposing
There
that?
are.
Like explaining?
Well, there are,
that?
Yeah.
Okay, they are.
But if we can't
Many-
push
most
this
of
because
the
we have
mayors
guidelines,
and-
let's go to the groups that can.
Okay, thank God.
I'm hearing a couple of different things, and forgive me if I'm hearing it wrong. I still think at some point, if not now, then we need an initiative to let people know, including our board, about the value of transit. That's one separate piece. And then the other piece is maybe a group of people can put together a list of, like I know I looked up, what are the organizations that are opposing this legislation? And individually, we can let other people on the committee know. Make sure you call these different agencies and see what you can do. I mean, am I hearing this right, that we can basically do two separate things? Are we allowed to do that with the,
Not as a track committee though. It has
not
to
as a
be
track
individual.
committee, but sending out to the other members? Well, no, I guess we have to do it
That would still be.
We can do it personally, or
You, as individuals, you have First Amendment rights to say and do whatever you want, but when you're wearing a PSTA hat, Mark?
He is very PSA.
PSTA shirt.
When you're
So take off the
representing
PSTA hat.
PSTA,
No, you do this.
hold on, guys, please order. When you're representing PSTA, you cannot electioneer, you cannot tell people how to vote.
It has to be in your own personal capacity.
But
completely.
can we, as the track, let people know that if you want to, under your First Amendment rights, to reach out to any of the organizations that are, that are addressing this legislation, can we give them that list of the people, like you said, AARP was suggested, I don't know if they have a point of view on this or not, but
I would suggest
That sounds like.
Yes.
that you all not email each other
Yes.
because of sunshine law, to be absolutely, like, don't take any steps close to the edge of the cliff.
Okay.
All of the information about the organizations for and against this, I mean, it's, you can Google it.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not secret, it's not hard to find information.
all right.
Is
The
that,
moment we email each other, all of our personal emails become public record. So I'm not emailing now one of y'all, I'm just letting you know.
I'm gonna hold off on comments for just a second.
I'm not doing that.
Because I know we're coming up on toward the end of the meeting and I want to find out for sure. Are we going to do an initiative on the value of the transit riders? And if so,
yes.
we did agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. If anyone's interested, send their their information to Juan, and Juan can, publicly notice that, and we'll have our meetings. Okay. We're not going to do any information on sending out relative to the legislation, but we all know it and we're all gonna speak to as many people as we can. Okay, then Conrad, you look like you're gonna say something.
Brad, when you mentioned that you were gonna be raising bus fares, are you gonna throw all the veterans under the bus when this passes so that we don't get free bus passes anymore?
I hadn't thought, I mean, then, what do you think? What do you think we should do?
You know what I think, I mean, why? I don't think you should cut anything, but I wanna tell you something right now. I don't want you to touch anything about any veteran in this county if you wanna raise the prices or you wanna get away with programs. You need to leave the veterans alone at the small minuscule amount of money that you're gonna get.
It's probably small, yeah.
But Conrad, that's again, one of those things where I think you are free to contact the VA and
The
anyone,
VA's
any
got nothing to do with it.
well, any organizations
It's
that,
PSTA that gives us those free
right,
passes.
but all the veterans. Yeah, I think, Juan was saying that if we may be able to move that to another subsequent meeting because
Should we?
we're.
Oh, we got something
Yeah.
else?
Yeah.
Budget, yeah.
oh, Cheryl's presentation? Oh,
Yes.
oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did have one more thing. Oh my lord, we spent a lot of time on this.
Can we move it to the
Yeah,
next
that's
meeting?
5:30
Next
is
meeting?
supposed to be the end, I know.
Oh my lord.
I just asked her, she said yes.
Thank you, Cheryl.
We're gonna move that.
Yes.
Saying to wait,
Decision
push it
is
to the next
to
meeting.
close, is to.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be closing the meeting,
Also, just as
because
a-
5:30.
Before you close the meeting, as a reminder, there will be another presentation, more detailed impact scenarios at the August meeting.
Okay.
So as you're working on your initiative, I would hold for those more detailed impacts. So we have a full understanding
Yeah.
and you have all the facts
I wanna
at your
hear about that.
disposal.
Oh, okay. Although the initiative, I think we're talking about is really more about the value.
Yes.
It's again, instead of us being a cost, about us being a driver of business. We are an engine of the economy. And I think people need to view us as an engine rather than just a cost.
Yeah.
Jay was gonna say something.
Yes, a couple of things. One, can we have the FRED technology at the beginning of next meeting? So this doesn't happen again? Yes. Talking about taxes always takes longer. Just saying. Putting something not about taxes after taxes is unfair. Oh, can we do that at the beginning of the next meeting?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and two, I just want to remind people, we are a board, so like, we have to respect our chair and allow our chair to call on us to speak, and not to speak out of turn, because it could cause difficulty with hearing and crosstalk. So just all remember, Elizabeth is the chair, so when you're ready to speak, you raise your hand and allow on her to call on you, please.
Thank you, although I miss sometimes people, but thank you.
But still,
Okay, yes, one more, Stuart.
What events is PSTA already going to have a booth, a table, whatever at? The last couple of years, I was seeing PSTA pop up at, different things. And I knew about it, so I could go to it, or volunteer to be at the table or whatever. I haven't heard much for this year.
No, outside of spring break, I think we haven't done a lot of events. We're getting to our back to school season, so this Saturday we're gonna have a back to school event in St. Pete, the Midtown area.
Okay, there was one thing that was in, I don't remember if it was Tropicana parking lot or what, and it had a lot of booths, and PSTA was there.
I was talking about.
And they were handing out information about this, about that, about the next thing. The changes in October, the year before that about other things. Are we having less tables at less events? Because it seems like it.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, we have several events that we're
Okay.
coming
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
and if you have events that you're interested in seeing us at, you can let us know.
Okay.
The next one is the Care Fair, which is
Yeah, we
back to
would
school
like to
event that we-
have those events in advance, not like
Okay.
it's not, we wanna tell you where, we wanna know where you go. Let's actually have the same, like we discussed it a few months ago, I had the same actually, no.
You wanna know where we're
We know
tabling.
where
Yes.
you're going, yeah, we wanna know.
Yeah, I think our focus right now has been on other projects
Just
for the outreach team.
That's true, yeah.
So we've been working on.
It's okay, you just, as long as you tell us where you go and like, well, okay, this is what you're doing, and like if we
Okay.
can go there, we'll let you know.
I just
At the
happened
end of the
to,
agendas.
go to
Okay,
an event at, I forgot the name of it, a few blocks in from Walsingham with the gardens and like that, and find a PSTA table there. I didn't know PSTA was gonna be there because it wasn't really publicized.
This is really, really good feedback, so thank you. I'll talk to Juan and Karen, we can probably, what we can do that might be easier is even like at the end of the agendas, list where we're gonna be, like a month or two ahead of time.
Excellent.
yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, no, this is really good feedback, thank you.
Any other member comments at this point? Okay, well, our next meeting will be on Zoom and it'll be on August 18th at 4:00. And so I look forward to seeing you all then, and I look forward to hearing who's going to be on the initiative committee, and Juan will send out notices to that group and publicly notice that so we can talk and start have something together for next time too.
Excellent.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Good meeting, Chair.
Great meeting.
We've got so much that we want to say and so much we want to add, and so I appreciate everyone being here, and I like them in person sometimes too, because we have a good chance to talk with each other, so, thank you. Have a good
Thank
month,
y'all.
everyone.
We'll
I guess
sign-
I'd make the
sign
motion
all
that we
1
close the
million
meeting.
residents of
Oh,
Pinellas
okay.
County
I just
for
closed
each
it.
of you
Okay.
to call and talk
Yeah.
about amendment three and training.
Yeah.
This may be the last meeting you get snacks, so you better get them now because if you're past that vote, you ain't